My name is Mark, and I'm a proud Newfoundlander. I usually emphasize the proud part because Newfoundlanders have a mostly well-deserved reputation for being really friendly, generally nice, pretty well awesome. But if you think the people of Newfoundland are awesome, just wait till you see the wildlife here. The beauty of this place is, I don't know how to describe it. I have some video here, obviously in this video, that I'm showing you to try to demonstrate what the place actually looks like. But everybody knows that pictures don't always do the actual event or location or what you're seeing at that moment. It doesn't always do it justice. It's a representation of what's actually happening, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing. But you try to take a photo of fireworks or the moon on a brilliant full moon or whatever, it just doesn't work, right? That's the situation with the Cape St. Mary's Bird Sanctuary, the Ecological Reserve. Came down with my brother. He's ahead of me here now because I was messing with the camera trying to get my settings right because the fog rolled in and kind of became hard to see me. But we were down there before the fog rolled in, and it was actually really nice morning, and we saw everything. The birds, you'll see it. I'll have the footage spliced into this video obviously, but an amazing experience to see all the different birds, the gannets, the kittiwakes. But on top of the birds, you got the cliffs along the path that you walk out on, which were probably the nicest coastline I've seen, but treacherous. This is not something that I would recommend taking kids on. This is a beautiful hike, but it's not super challenging. I don't know if you can see, there's rocks and hills. There's nothing crazy. Sheer cliffs, 3 feet from the markers that you'll see around. So yeah, not really an event for little kids to take part in, but wow, it was amazing. This is what you can see now. So we came at the right time, we're leaving at the right time. We kind of overshot the road that takes you in here. At first, coming from Placentia, driving down, we were headed toward Branch. So if you are driving down the road to turn into to get to the bird sanctuary, it's really small. It's marked well, but it's such a small road that we blew past it. And by the time we realized that we blew past it, we were almost in Branch. Probably, 10-15 kilometers past. So just keep that in mind. I remember seeing in some of the reviews before coming here talking about how the road that takes you into the Ecological Reserve is really bad. Well, I don't know if they were just all really old reviews, because the road coming in is really narrow. So if there's any traffic coming towards you, you go really slow and move to the side. And you can get 2 cars through with not much more room than that. But in terms of the quality of the road, it was probably one of the smoothest roads that I've seen in the province so far. It's in its own corner of the Avalon Peninsula. I highly recommend going out of your way to pay a visit to this place. So it's kind of like close enough that it's very accessible, but it's far enough away that it takes some effort. And I feel like it's one of those places that people may know about because it is a very special place. And relatively speaking, it has a profile within Newfoundland and Labrador, but I really just don't know how to describe the place. You have to see it for yourself. Unbelievable views, unbelievable experience. I'm breathing a little heavy because it's a little bit of an incline going back up, but there's an incline coming down as well. So one of those uphill both ways journeys. But here, my brother's way ahead of me, so I'm gonna go catch up with him. Talk to you soon. See you, loves you, bye.
Captain Up briefly touched on it earlier, we're not just looking for birds, are we? What else are we looking for? Whales.
And that was a long tour. We were out for about an hour and a half, but it was starting to get a little bit disappointing in the sense that we knew that we were going to have to turn around and go back to shore soon because the operator has a schedule and they have to keep the schedule. So we had to get off so somebody else could get on the boat when their turn came. So it's kind of like accepted the fact that we probably weren't going to see any whales on this day. And the captain got on the microphone at one point and said, like, there's whatever the record was for this season, something like 30 or 20 or 4, I don't know how many days straight where the operators saw whales, came across whales, and we were looking like we were going to be the first one to break that streak, and it was pretty disappointing. But then we spotted a whale eventually just off in the distance, and everything went silent and everybody rushed over to one side of the boat. Thank God it was a big boat, because otherwise who knows what would have happened. But the whales were there and they decided to come up. They must have known that we were going to have to turn around, so they stopped teasing us and said, okay, now we're here now. Heading from St. John's south on the Southern Shore Highway, you come across Bay Bulls pretty quickly. Witless Bay is a little bit past, but you're actually going to drive into Bay Bulls to take advantage of one of these tours that I'm about to tell you a little bit about. Bay Bulls is pretty famous as a whale watching destination. There are a couple of tour operators that operate out of Bay Bulls.
Alright, so that's how we tell the males from the females. Like I said, I'm just not based on the size, but the one closer to us here could definitely be a male. Look at that. Dude, he might get a tail. That's okay, we don't need to see the tail. Alright, reason being is because it's very bittersweet. When you see the tail of these humpbacks, it would indicate that they're going on a terminal dive. Just like that. Alright, beauty! Oh, she kind of did a full flip under the water. Beautiful. Are we having fun?
Yes.
Is this anyone's first time whale watching? Oh, you're very, very lucky. This does not happen as much as you think it would.
When you get that lady scared away, can you take the C6?
Like I said, any questions in terms of that, by all means ask it, but I'm not going to say it.
Here it comes, coming back.
There's a fin with the
Wow. I gotta shift
Somebody
this.
wave back! Wave! Hello!
Get in there. Wow.
Well, it'll soon be time to wake up, guys. You're just dreaming.
There too, characters there.
These are the best personalities that you guys could ever find in whales, okay? Every single humpback is different, just like us humans. Some of them want nothing to do with us. Some of them are like, you know, hello, how's your day? But these guys are nosy. And that's the way we like it, honestly.
She's rugged.
When they go underwater.
And the houses lie scattered among the rocks in the cove, from the orange, green, yellow, and blue. In Twillingate, Fogo, little hearties, Fortune proud river from August. And she's a rocky isle in the ocean, and she's pounded by wind from the seas. Yes, you might think she's rugged and cold, but she's home, sweet home to me. Boy, she's home, sweet home to me. Thank you very much, folks. That's what and like I said, that means that our tour is now over. But here in Newfoundland, we don't like to say that it's over. That's too sad. We says the arse is over. Alright, so the arse is now over. Please don't go arse out. Make your way back on the dry way.
So when we were finally done with our little excursion to the island to see the puffins at the Puffin viewing site, when we came out, it was a beautiful day and there were people heading in, and one of the people that was heading in asked, simple question, were there any puffins there today? I couldn't answer. I was literally speechless. I couldn't simply say, yes, there were puffins. I was trying to say so many things because my mind was just racing from what I had just experienced. Elliston, Newfoundland is really close to the town of Bonavista, towards the northern tip of the Bonavista Peninsula. It is a small town, but it's really raised its own profile over the past probably about 30 years or so. Elliston is actually one of the highlights of the whole Bonavista Peninsula, and the Bonavista Peninsula is just so rich with so many great things. The peninsula is one of my favorite regions of the whole province, and Elliston is one of the unsung heroes that makes the peninsula such a gem. Right? I'm going to spend a little bit more time to talk about the Puffins here, though, because they deserve some serious attention. So the Puffin viewing site, that's actually, I believe the signage, that's what I call it. I don't think there's any specific name on it, but the Puffin viewing site is in the town of Elliston, and it's just past Sandy Cove Beach. And there's plenty of parking. I don't know how busy it can get. I took my mom and dad for a visit there one time in the middle of the summer on a beautiful day, and there was a lot of people around, but there was ample parking. And you need parking, you need to drive. It'll be pretty hard to reach this place without a vehicle, so that's why I want to stress parking here. There is a little bit of a hike to get to the Puffin viewing site. Now, it's not much of a hike, but unfortunately that particular day my mom's leg was really acting up. She had a problem with her leg, and she actually stayed in the car while me and my dad took the hike in to see the Puffins. And I say hike, and please understand it's pretty flat, but there are a few areas that get a little choppy where there's actually like rails so that you don't get vertigo and fall off a cliff. Like, it's not a particularly difficult hike, but just, you know, be aware. I'm happy to say that my brother took my mom and dad back to Elliston, and they went out, and mom's feeling better, thankfully, so my brother took her and my dad out to the Puffin site, and they actually were able to make the walk, so she actually got to see some Puffins in 2024, so you know, it's all good. The little hike out, I mean, we're talking 5 or 10 minutes. I don't remember it being long, but it's just something to be mindful of. It's, you know, relatively uneven ground because it's not like a paved walkway or anything, but definitely a scenic little short walk. But the real main event is when you get to the end of the hike, and you know when you're there as soon as you get there, especially if it's a busy day with a lot of people around, because there's not a lot of activity, because people are standing like statues, dumbfounded, looking at the scenery. So there is an island just beyond the Puffin viewing site that you can't access. There's no bridge or anything, and that's where the majority, I understand, of the Puffin nests are. But the Puffins come over to the side of the land where the actual viewing site is, and they are not shy at all. They'll come up very close to you. Please don't get too close to them. This is nature, so you know, take care when you're on the site, but you can get pretty close to them and get great photos and video in great detail, and they're not really afraid of it. So be mindful. It is wildlife. You want to be careful, but you can also take advantage of the proximity, the very close proximity with Puffins here that you can't get many, if any, other places around the world. So the ideal time to go to the viewing site to actually see the Puffins, they say it's pretty wide window from late May to early September. The prime season will be more like mid to late June through mid-August. For a lot of people, the most exciting reason to show up at this particular time is because the bright colors of the Puffins' beaks, that's the prime time for that. It's related, the colors of the beaks are related to hormones in the birds, so it's believed that that plays a role in mating, like it does for a lot of other animals. Come during this breeding season window to see the Puffins at their brightest, at their most colorful, right? So if you're going to go to Elliston to see the Puffins, you're going to a place that's probably, if not the most accessible Puffin viewing location in the world. It's definitely top 2 or 3. So you're going to treat yourself to something that you can't find really anywhere else in the world. It's recommended to bring binoculars, but on some days you don't even need them. You can get up literally within an arm's reach from a Puffin, and please do not get closer than that. They are wildlife and they don't want to be touched. Please don't feed them any of that. But you can get, my point is, you can get so close that you literally could touch them. So binoculars may be appropriate sometimes, but other times they're just not even needed. So Elliston is the root cellar capital of the world, and if you take that in a vacuum and don't really think much about it, it doesn't sound very interesting. But once you see a root cellar, it's like, okay, this is why they cling to that claim to fame. But on top of the root cellars, there's the whole history of the Newfoundland sealing industry that is commemorated by the town. There's a beautiful beach. There's beautiful towns all around Elliston on the Bonavista Peninsula. So there's many reasons to head to Elliston for a weekend getaway or whatever you can do. If you live in St. John's, you can do a day trip to Elliston, no problem. But the crown jewel, the cherry on top of the beautiful cake that is the Bonavista Peninsula, has to be the Puffins, specifically in the peak summer months. And if that's the only thing that you're going to travel to Elliston for, you won't be disappointed. It's remarkable, and I can't think of many other things that I've experienced in my life that left me literally speechless like this has.